Hey, what's up? It's Jordan here of hardcoremusicstudio.com. I wanted to do a quick video kind of inspired by one of my students of my mixing course, Hardcore Mixing. He had commented that after going through the course, it really opened his eyes to the fact that he had been relying so much on his eyes when he's mixing and using these visual style EQs that, they show the graph and the line of all the moves you're making. And he said that he was making his mix decisions and his EQ moves based on that and what looked right and what looked proper. And then seeing in the course, and as if you've been watching any of my videos, I use the SSL channel a lot. He had always shied away from that because he couldn't see, the graph of what he was boosting or cutting on the EQ. And he's not the only one. I've had people email me and ask, why would I use this when I could use such and such EQ that has the graph and it's so much more detailed and stuff. And, one of the reasons I love the SSL channel, aside from how it sounds, is that there isn't that visual element. There's just knobs. It's just turning knobs until it sounds good. And yeah, there's numbers here and everything, but it's way easier for me to do, say a 6, 9, 10 dB boost on the SSL channel compared to something like the REQ here. So I want to give you an example here using, let's say, this tom track and show you the moves I made on the SSL and then show you what it would look like on a visual style EQ like this, and show you what I mean about how it's more difficult to make the more drastic moves that sometimes you need to make in the mix. It's more difficult to make those on a visual style EQ like that just because the appearance of it almost holds you back from doing what you need to do. So let's duplicate this track, show you what it sounds like first. So just to show you the two EQs I have going on here, the SSL channel first. And then doing some more cutting on this REQ. So let's go to our duplicated track. We'll open up the SSL channel and then we will put on So I'm just going to basically mimic my settings on the SSL channel over here on the REQ. So first thing, we've got a 8.7 dB boost at 6K. SSL has pretty wideband EQ, I think. Okay, 3 dB boost at 3.5. A minus 12.7 dB cut at 480. Then a 3.5 dB boost at 99. So that's one EQ in the chain, and then as you can see here, I've also got another REQ in this chain. So let's actually add these settings to our current EQ here. So at 280 minus 3, and then 771 minus 8. All right, so there you go. Now let me ask you, if you were just using the REQ here or some EQ with this kind of style, do you think you would have ended up with this, this graph that goes all the way down to the bottom here and this one almost all the way up? And by the way, like if you've seen some other videos, about mixing kick and stuff, you've seen that I've done boost, up to 10, 12, even 15 dB on something on the top end if it needs it. And it's just, to me, when I'm using these style EQs, I don't know, I can't do it. I can't get my head around it. And from feedback I've heard from other people, I'm not the only one. I'm sure there are some of you out there who have no problem grabbing EQs like this and doing big moves and whatnot. But for me, and I think a lot of others, this style of EQ can really hold you back from mixing with your ears, and you start to rely on your eyes and the curves that you're used to seeing and that look proper and that don't look too extreme. And if you see something, that looks a little crazy like this, you start to second guess yourself. Whereas if you're using something like the SSL channel here, it's very easy to just grab the knob, turn it until it sounds the way you want. You don't really have that visual feedback that's going to hold you back and make you second guess what you're doing. And from any time I've spent in bigger studios where there are consoles and hardware EQs, I've really found it to be beneficial because there's no screen, there's no graph that you're looking at as you're turning the knob. You're just turning it and then really listening with your ears to see what it sounds like. And so that's why I really started leaning on the SSL, because I noticed I was making bolder moves in those situations, and it forces me to really rely on my ears and not use the visual elements kind of as almost as a crutch, which I think is a huge stumbling block when mixing in the box for people. I know it was for me. It's a challenge to teach yourself to avoid mixing with your eyes and just really focus on your ears. But plugins like the SSL channel can help that. And so I just wanted to share that with you in this video, let you know that, yeah, I love the sound of this plugin, but it's more than that. It's actually the way it looks and the way you have to use it that is, I think, a really beneficial thing. And even when it comes to compressors, a lot of times I will just look away from the screen or even close my eyes as I'm turning the knob with my mouse so that I'm not focused too much on that gain reduction meter to get the sound I want. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this little rant. Hopefully that's helpful for you. I would challenge you, if you're really used to using EQs like this and judging your moves based on how it looks on the screen, I really challenge you to find an EQ like the SSL channel or something else that has the knobs like this and not, the parametric EQ here to really challenge yourself to use your ears instead of your eyes. All right, as always, leave a comment if you have any questions or just give me some feedback, like button, dislike button, whatever. Subscribe if you want to get updated on all my newest videos. And of course, for my best content, go and join my email list at hardcoremusicstudio.com. I'll send you my free cheat sheet and a bunch of free stuff there. All right, thanks guys. Talk to you later.